Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Welcome back. It's time for another Mass Make Monday. In case you're new to my channel, what I do is I set a timer for 45 minutes and I try to see how many of a particular item I can make in that time. And today we're going to make library card pockets. So I bought these library cards off of Amazon, and this one I covered with a napkin to make it spooky ooky. And it measures 3 by 5. So I did a little prep work and I got out a bunch of book pages and some digitals. You could use scrapbook paper, whatever kind of paper you have. And I'm going to tell you how I came about with my measurements, and then we'll get to making the library card pockets, and I'll start the timer after I explain the setup here. So my cards are 3 inches wide. So I want a 1/4 inch on either side to fold over, and then I want a little bit of room so that the card goes in and out smoothly. So I cut them to 3 5/8 wide, which, if you're like, what on earth is 5/8? 5/8 is 1 tick mark past 3 1/2. So that's the 5/8 on your cutter. And then height-wise, some of the book page is about 7 inches high. So for those, I left them at 7 inches, and that'll give me 2 inches to fold up for my pocket. The other ones that were taller, I cut down to 7 1/2 to give me a little bit more space above with a 2-inch pocket. You'll see once we get to folding and all of that. So we're gonna start our timer. I'm gonna grab my scoreboard. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna score a 1/4 inch on either side. And because it's 5/8 wide, I'm gonna do it at 3/8 is a 1/4 inch. So I'm just gonna do it this way because it's easier to score over here than it is to score a 1/4 inch over there. And then we're gonna flip around and do it again. And then I'm gonna score a 2-inch pocket. So there. And I'm gonna set it aside. We're gonna do all of our scoring at once because that makes the most sense. I've got 2 pages stuck together and I think I can score 2 at once to speed the scoring process along. So how is everybody doing? I'm sorry that there was no video up on Friday, but I was offline for about a day and a half thanks to Hurricane Milton. I live in the Central Florida area, so we got hit by Hurricane Milton on Thursday morning. And I ended up losing power at about 4:30 in the morning. So I was without power for about 12 hours. So unfortunately, that means I've got to clean out my fridge of all perishable foods because that's about the limit, and I don't have a thermometer. I think I do actually have one somewhere, a fridge thermometer. But either it was buried in the back of my fridge or I took it out of the fridge and I have no idea where I put it. But I didn't check the temp in the fridge when the power came back on. So better safe than sorry. I am gonna clear out all of the perishables from my fridge and then have to go and restock my fridge at some point. Although a lot of the stuff is the things you get and use once and then they end up migrating to the back of the fridge and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. There's a bunch of that kind of stuff. So, on the upside, it's going to get me to clean out my fridge. So let's do, that's there. So yeah, that's my after this video project so that later on I can go grocery shopping and restock my fridge with all the necessary items. But because it was only out 12 hours. My freezer is fine, which is good because I have my stockpile of pumpkin spice creamer in the freezer. Yeah, I realized when the power went off, I was like, oh man, because I actually have a French press, which I bought after one of the hurricanes where we lost power, to make it easier to make coffee, but I forgot to get shelf-stable creamer. So I was like, oh no, no coffee. Yeah, that was the worst part of Thursday post Milton, was no coffee, because it was actually, thankfully, rather pleasant temperature-wise. So I was not dying of the heat, which is often what happens post-hurricane in Florida, because it's usually miserable. But Thursday was delightful temp-wise. It was nice and cool. So that was nice. But in addition to, my power being out, a branch fell on the line for my cable and internet to my house. And I sent a message, I reported it to my cable provider, Spectrum, on Thursday. But apparently that, didn't register with them. I don't know what the heck happened. Because it's tell us what you see. And I'm like, I have a line down. I had to go back on Thursday and actually go through talking to their, chat bot and tell them, my line's down. Because they're like, I get a message. I think I get a text message saying, or I went online and they're like, you have service. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have a line to my house. I do not have service. So yeah, they ended up sending out a tech on Friday at about 2 o'clock. He was there, I don't know, less than an hour, I'd say. And he got me back up and running. But as a result of that, I just did not have a video edited and ready to go for Friday. It was just it's too late in the day to try and get it up, and I was just like, oh, it's just not happening. So that is why there was no video on Friday, but otherwise I am fine. I had one small section of my fence that I didn't replace after Hurricane Ian because it wasn't knocked down in Ian. It came loose, but we just kind of tacked it back into place because, yeah, Bert made a brief escape Thursday because actually it happened Wednesday afternoon before the storm even hit. It came loose because the problem is it was very, very wet. We got a lot of rain on Wednesday into Thursday, and so I think that's what caused it to loosen, was the amount of water, and the dog had been digging over there. So, because that's not in the right spot. I'm like, why is it so far over? So yeah, my dad came over Thursday morning and took a look at it, and he's like, yeah, I think we could just nail this back into place. He's like, but we're going to probably need to re-cement the post into position. And I'm like, I'd rather just replace that whole section, because when Hurricane Ian hit 2 years ago, it knocked out several sections of my back fence. And my fencing is, the wood 6-foot privacy fence, which I did not love. When I replaced the back fencing, I went with vinyl. So the back fence and the one section from the back fence to my shed is now the vinyl fencing. And I have one section between my house and my neighbor's fence in the front that's still wood, because that's a gate into the backyard kind of thing. And I was like, I didn't feel like dealing with replacing it at that point because it didn't absolutely need to be done. So I was like, all right, I'll get around to doing that eventually. And then there's one other section in the backyard area that connects my screened-in porch to the shed. And these are digitals. This one's my Porch Prints. This one I think is Leanna Scraps. This one I think is Printscape Journey, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check. I'll leave a list of all the printables down below. Because, yeah, I didn't look them up before I started crafting. So that section's still wood, and I want to replace that as well. So it might be a matter of when I do the front section, I'll do that. But I think that's going to wait until later in the year, since I recently had to replace my AC unit, and that was a rather large expense. So I think I may hold off a little while longer, as long as Bert can't escape fixing the front section of fencing. And the event I was supposed to do, the Halloween event that was scheduled for Friday night, got postponed to January. So I am still, and I found out about it earlier in the week. Like, I think they made the decision on Tuesday. So I stopped my frantic crafting, because I was frantically crafting, trying to get everything done in time. So a little bit of a relief in that I didn't have to frantically craft the rest of the weekend. This one's a little bit wider, just because it was a close enough kind of thing. I think what I did was I cut a piece in half, essentially, because this book page was wide enough. And where's the rest of this book page? I don't know where that went. I might have stuck it somewhere unintentionally. Like, it might have gotten mixed into the pile of stuff that's I set off to the side as offcuts. All right, we'll go with those now. Our folding and gluing. Let's grab my bone folder. So what we're gonna do, and our cutting, and actually I need to grab scissors. Let's pause this and I will be right back. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna fold it this way. So there's our pocket. And then these are gonna fold back. And actually those are gonna fold a different way, but I'll explain that in a minute. Ooh. Oh, and I forgot to start our timer. Started it back up. Okay. So what we are going to do is, we don't need all of this. Now, you could leave it on and just snip here. Let's actually go ahead and do that snip right now. We're gonna snip there. There. And then we are gonna cut away the top section. Trying to be as straight as possible, which you could do this with a paper trimmer. Ooh, that is not straight. But I don't love doing it that way. And so what I want to do on this one is, because I want this on the front, we're gonna fold this back around and glue that on the back, and any excess we'll just trim away. Why does this pocket look so small? Where's my library card? Because this pocket is small. What the heck happened here? Oh, because I forgot that this was a little narrower than what I needed. Well, whatever library card's going in this pocket's gonna have to get trimmed down. I probably should have made one completely to make sure that the measurements were right. Let's double check the other ones that I know are cut properly. I'm gonna blame Milton. Just gonna blame the storm for this. Because that one I cut at 3.5 instead of 3 5/8. So let's double check our pockets are all gonna work, because otherwise this is getting dumped and I'm starting the whole video over again. Okay, yes, it's just that one that was a little off. Okay, whew, I was a little worried there for a sec. All right, so again, we are going to cut in at our pocket fold and then trim all of this section away. My problem is I have the paper trimmer where you can sink the blade and do it, and I have yet to master it, so I'm never in the exact right spot I want to be when I cut, and so that is why I'm using scissors instead of a paper trimmer for that. All right, so that's going to be our pocket, and I know it's completely plain because this is single-sided paper, but I figured we could decorate it and cover up the fact that it is completely plain. All right, let's go through and do all of our folding and cutting on our pockets. So yeah, I'm trying to think where I left off and what I was talking about. So yeah, not too terribly bad. Oh, I was gonna point out. So my darling dog Bert, who's normally a pain in the neck. If you've watched any of my videos, you've heard the tales of Bert. So let's see. Since the last Mess Make Monday, that video I filmed before what happened last Sunday, I got a delivery for lunch and mistakenly left the plastic utensils that came with the meal on the edge of my counter. And while I was eating my lunch, Bert was eating the knife and half of the fork. And I don't remember seeing whether or not it had a spoon. So if there was a spoon, he ate the spoon as well, because by the time I found him, he only had half of a fork left. Just didn't quite get all of it off because it's not folding around nicely. So I'm just gonna trim a little bit more off down here. So that involved a trip to the emergency vet. I was not too happy about that. So yeah, we did that. Although it was a fairly quick trip. I was pleasantly surprised. It was probably the fastest emergency vet visit I ever had. So they gave him the meds and he threw up bits of plastic. And then we went home. So that was last Sunday. And then I had this past week off from work because I was prepping for the event that got canceled that was supposed to be on Friday, thanks to Milton. So I spent like all day Monday crafting and Tuesday crafting, and then I think I got the text from my friend Deborah, who is the one who was one of the organizers who got me to sign up, telling me it was getting postponed. So it's now going to be January 10th of 2025. So it was kind of one of those things where it was like, you can either use your fee for coming on the, you can come for the 10th, but if that doesn't work, you can use your fee to do next year. So I will probably, I'm planning on still doing my table in January. Yeah, we'll see how well things sell, because got a lot of very Halloween themed stuff And I may try and get some things done that are a little more, I don't know, wintry themed to bring along, just in case people aren't feeling the Halloween. Although the event's the Night of Mystic Arts, so I may also try and get stuff that's a little less Halloween and more just spooky. I think the journals, for the most part, will be fine, but I was making a ton of Halloween cards, figuring those are less expensive than the journals, and so might do well. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I now have until January to finish all of the stuff that I was working on, so that was a little bit of a relief, because I'm not gonna lie, I was a little stressed as to whether or not I was gonna get everything done. I was feeling like there wasn't gonna be, that several items that I had planned on bringing were not going to get finished, and were not going to be among the items that would make it to my table. So yeah, I was bummed and relieved at the same time, if that makes any sense. All right. Just reinforcing my folds a little bit there on that one, because some of them, my cutting's not exactly perfect. All right, let's keep going. Yep. So yeah, the video I was planning for this past Friday, which I don't know if I'm gonna air it or not, I may try crafting something else, is I was working on like filling the Halloween journals. So it was kind of a, hey, we're just gonna work on these journals because I need to get them done kind of video. So I don't know if I'm gonna end up posting that or film something else, because it was definitely not my most exciting video, but it does give you some ideas for filling a journal, and the different pockets, shows you the different pockets I've been making. So I don't know, we'll see what happens this weekend crafty wise, and whether I come up with something to film in its place. So yeah, I'm definitely starting to feel a little Halloweened out, which is understandable given how much Halloween I've been doing, but problematic in that I need to make sure I still finish up the stuff for January instead of slacking off and not working on it. So I need to make sure I get that stuff done now that I have extra time to do it in. So definitely gonna start shifting out of Halloween mode with my videos. I think it took me forever to decide what to make for today's mass make, because I'm like, my brain's still a little Halloween, but I'm also a little sick of Halloween, and I think I'm good on like, it's a matter of just finishing what I have kind of thing for Halloween. So it's like, I don't want to make a ton of more stuff for Halloween. So yeah, I was struggling to figure out what to make for today's mass make video. And then I was like, wait, I've got those library cards. They need pockets. Let's do some library card pockets. And we can do Halloween and non-Halloween, because in some of the book page in here is from that Edgar Allan Poe book that I picked up. So would work for the Halloween journal. Alright, so let's see, what else? Talked about Milton and what's going on with that. latest of Bert shenanigans. I'm trying to think. I am drawing a blank on anything else that's going on. And ooh, that is not straight. Look at that like wonky end there. Oh, and so with these guys, as I'm folding it up, for the book page ones, you'll notice that the bit that gets folded up is upside down. If that's gonna bug you, don't use book page, but I figured we can just cover that with decorating. Because this is my Edgar Allan Poe book page. I have to make sure I've got all of those. And these are a bunch of Christmas ones. That one's Edgar Allan Poe. Because of course I cut more than we're gonna have time to probably make. Possibly, maybe. I'd like to do at least a little decorating, at least for the ones that have the very white edge. Now, if you're a little worried about your book page holding up to having something going in and out of the pocket, like this is a little soft, what we can do is fold down the top edge of the pocket to reinforce it. So let's cut. What I may do is stop with these guys and start the gluing part so that we make sure we don't run out of time. And then at the end, if I still have time, we can go back to finishing assembling the other ones we folded or scored. If that makes any sense. I'm sitting here working on this going, I think I need my reading glasses. I need to make an appointment with the optometrist. It's one of those things that just keeps getting put off with all the other stuff that's going on between vet visits and AC and hurricanes and craft fair thingies. Yes, I actually don't have my AC on, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, this is the, since getting it, other than when it was, you know, not working properly, this is the first time since the beginning of the year that I've been able to turn off the AC and open the windows. Now, the downside to opening windows is the dogs tend to notice stuff going on outside a bit more when I do that. And so there tends to be more barking, which does not thrill me, generally speaking. It's like, guys, this is why I can't keep the windows open. Just be quiet. Although right now they're both passed out asleep, which I always like. Sleeping beagle is a well-behaved beagle. Yeah, the day after the hurricane hit, because I didn't have power. And it was a very gray overcast day, so there was not that much light in my craft room. I was like, you know, we're just gonna sit on the couch, and I've got several battery chargers. So I sat and read on my Kindle, and Powell was very happy with that because he got to spend the day curled up in my lap pretty much, which he thinks is a great day. All right, let's start our gluing on these guys, and if we have time to go back to the other ones, we will. So as I was saying, for these, which are a little flimsy, what we can do is fold over the very top, like so. I'm going to grab smaller scissors and cut this little bit away because it's just going to add bulk we don't need. And I'm angling a little to make sure it will still fold in nicely and we won't have any issues. And then I'm going to take my art glitter glue and I'm going to run glue along here and just fold that over. Now for these little flaps, now you can glue them inside if you want, which does make the pocket a little bigger, or you can glue them around back behind, especially if you're gonna, like, if you're planning on gluing it down on a page, you can do that. If you're gonna have it freestanding, unless you're gonna put something on the back, I'd glue it inside like so. Also, if you're gonna do that, you're gonna wanna cut a little bit away at the bottom. So let's do this one on the inside and we'll do the next one on the outside so you just can see your two options. So you're gonna wanna cut a little bit of that away so that it's not getting in the way of that fold. And I'm gonna add glue here and on this flap, which is, I know it's kind of hard to see the book page against book page, but just to the flaps. And then I'm gonna fold up and press down. And there is our library card pocket. Ta-da! And it's got a little bit showing up above it. You could trim that down if you don't like it, but I kind of like having a little extra above because I'm pretty sure the old school library card pockets, they actually stuck up above the little library card a bit. So there's that one. The other option would be, let's again reinforce the top here since we're gonna have stuff coming in and out of the pocket. And we will cut away the little corner that we don't need. Glue this bit down. Then fold up our back of our pocket and glue these guys over like so. And then any excess like sticking off at the bottom like that, we can just trim away. And there you go. I kind of like folding to the back a little bit better because then there's no issue with the card possibly catching on the gussets on the inside. So let's go ahead and glue all the rest of these guys together. And hopefully we'll have a little bit of time to do a little bit of decorating. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else is going on. Not a whole heck of a lot. I was starting to go through like withdrawal for watching YouTube videos on my TV since I was without TV on Thursday. All right, this one, let's fold a little bit down just to be on the safe side. Oh, I was very disappointed to hear that Netflix canceled Chaos after one season. So this is why I tend to avoid when I go on streaming services to look for something to watch and they only have one season of a show. I'm like, all right, this one. Now for these, what we can do is actually glue something over the top if we want to reinforce it. This one's not too bad. There's one of these, actually maybe it was this one I was a little concerned is on the flimsier side because I think I glued it on a lighter weight or printed on a lighter weight paper. So we can just do the little fold over thing again. Because I always hate watching a show and the tendency to leave a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end or leave it where it's clear the story's not done without knowing if they're going to come back for the next season really annoys me because I really hate that. It's one of my biggest pet peeves is to have a series canceled where they left you hanging at the end of the previous season. It's just rude. So I tend to avoid watching shows unless I know for sure they're coming back because it does bug me a bit. All right. Let's try and get all these guys together and then I'll show you how we can address the fact that we've got all this white space. And as I'm doing this, I realized if you wanted to ink the top edge of the pocket, you should do it before gluing down. It makes things a lot easier, but there is a workaround. So let's grab a red dauber because if we cover this, it's going to be a little bit harder to do the inking. All right. I'm like, what am I not missing here? I think this one I'm going to leave without bothering to fold over because I think this one's thick enough that I'm okay with it. And that's not the green I want. Where's my dark green dauber? I don't seem to have it handy. All right, let's grab some green. Do a little rustic wilderness. Now that I'm remembering that I should ink this part because it's not going to be as easy to access once we glue our pocket down. A little brown. Again, these guys are pretty firm. And we're winding down time-wise. This one I'm going to leave because that needs some futzing with to get it so, oh no, ink. what I was thinking for these guys was, let's bring over the paper. This Santa one, I printed 2 to a page, and so I was thinking maybe we just cut this down to go over our little pocket, which is a little over 2 inches. So let's grab paper trimmer. Where did I put the paper trimmer? Gonna err on the side of a little extra, because what we can do is trim it down from the bottom. And trim it from the side. And I am going to ink the edges of this like so. And then bring our pocket over. And what I can do is glue and then trim. And just trim off our excess. And then I can still decorate the pocket, but it's not, we don't have stark white showing. So there we go. Find the rest of our pockets that need decorating. Now for this one, I was thinking, I also have a sheet of the kit comes with red and green, and doing the red. I'm just gonna cut 3 1/4 inches is roughly will be big enough, and I'm gonna use green on the edges of this because I used green on there. I like the idea of the contrast. I'm just doing the top because, again, all the other spots are easy enough to ink after we glue down. So again, I'm going to add glue to the pocket. Cover, trim. I think to save time for these guys, we're just gonna glue and trim. Of course, I've got a dog who just came into the room and is like, I want to go out! And he's going to wait approximately 3 minutes because that's how much time we have left. Sorry if I went off screen there. This one I kind of want the bridge. think that'd be cool. So I think I am going to pull the trimmer in. Oh yeah, I like that. Okay, 2 more that need something on them. I think we'll just have enough time to do that. I need a little more glue. And last but certainly not least, this one. Oops. Should have stopped that before it went off, since that freaks the dog out. He just jumped a little. All right, let's just get this one done. How is this like so not straight? Oh, look at how that lined up almost perfectly with that tree. That's kind of cool. All right, let's see. Let's trim this off and we'll take a look at what we got done. And then I will go let a dog out. Definitely need a dot of glue on that corner. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's not too bad. Library pockets, and as you can see, my little library card will fit into all of these pockets just fine. And I'm probably going to round the top corners on them because I think that will look a little bit nicer, and ink the edges and all that sort of stuff before they go into a journal. That's all for today. So if you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.